Welcome to our very first episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. I'm Harry here with...
I'm Hamill.
Ralph.
Clark.
Steve.
And tonight we are reviewing No Man's Sky. So briefly, what do you guys think of the game?
I am terribly disappointed with the game.
Yeah. What game? There is no game.
I gotta say that the first 10 hours really sucked me in. But then I think I started to pick up on that very repetitive nature.
So you got through the tutorial and realized that there is no more game.
No more.
I rode that hype train until it crashed, and that was in the first 4 or 5 hours.
I have to give all of you guys credit for the fact you made it in 10 hours. I made it about 2, and that was about it.
I mean, to be honest, I sunk about 30 or 40 hours.
Are you
Actually.
serious?
40 hours into it.
Yeah, I was so gung-ho on getting a bigger ship that I just kept... I found a planet with just like tons of emerald. And I just kept going there. I actually found one pillar. It was incredibly high. I spent 2.5 hours mining it. Never got through the entire thing.
See, that's
So here's the question. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about mining that for 2 hours and getting nothing in return? When you say it out
loud like that, it's very depressing. That was the highlight of the game.
You spent 2 hours mining something with 0 return.
Yes.
I'll even say that with that. It's I had to spend more than 2 minutes just to mine some type of resource or something else from it. Why do I need to spend this much time pointing a little dot at this thing and clicking my R2 trigger to get any type of benefit? Other than like the little sentinels floating around.
And I think as far as like enemies go, it was just... There wasn't a lot of options. It was the sentinels and like a couple upgraded forms of them. That was it.
Did anyone pre-order the game? I pre-ordered the game,
No.
and let me tell you, if you use if you use the pre-order code for that, and you get the ship that they give you as the pre-order, it knocks out half of the tutorial because it has a warp drive on it already. So you just instantly get into it, and you can go to another planet immediately. No intro tutorial for mining. No, there was a real bad setback. Like, it was just like...
Jump in.
Cool, jump in, let's go.
Go straight to the center of the universe.
And I'm not gonna lie, I think that tutorial was one of the more interesting parts of the game.
Yeah,
because it's the first time you're there, you were like in a crashed ship, and it's like actually trying to fix something instead of just...
Well, and also with the tutorial and everything about it, it kind of explained what was going on. Like, when I saw Sentinel, I was like, oh, what's this? And it starts shooting, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Why is this? Why are you doing this to me? There's no explanation as to why these Sentinels hate me so much. And I feel hurt.
And I get the whole point of the game really is to explore and discover and learn these things. But when you figure out that it's just 3 alien races and 7 planets that are just reskinned, redone. There's a big one, a small one, a real tiny one, a moon, like...
Yeah.
It was pretty disappointing.
Well, when I picked up on the game, I actually had it where Mary, my fiance, was already playing a little bit. So when I loaded the game, I'm blasting through the universe, and then I divert off to the side, and all of a sudden I'm on a planet, which that's pretty cool, because especially when it comes to a game, and I'm a big fan of open world, where you can just go do whatever the hell you want. Awesome, great, cool. I have no idea what I'm doing by that point.
Right.
It's like I'm running along, and then all of a sudden my life support system is going down to 75, 50, 25. No idea what to do. And it's like, where do I go from here?
Yeah, totally. I didn't get that far into the game. I'm about maybe 3 or 4 hours in. I borrowed it from a friend, and I actually downloaded it with the patch. So, like, I didn't play it the night it came out. I didn't play it the week it came out. I played it more recently now. And the tutorial, the beginning stages, it really just seemed very streamlined. I don't know if it has to do with I was just lucky and got a planet that had a lot of the parts that I needed. And I mean, I think it's basically generally that way anyway. But I could have gone and left in, like, maybe 30 minutes. I could have had everything figured out in the ship, done and gone, but I decided to just stay and collect more and more and more. I really didn't want to leave the world that I started on because I felt like I was getting a lot of stuff that was worth having, and eventually I was like, okay, I guess I'm bored after like 45 minutes. Okay, I guess I'll go up and see what's out there in the universe. Like they're really, the fact that there is no guidance like that, it just, I started to lose interest.
It almost seems like it starts to become a little redundant, where it's the same thing over and over. Again, I really have not put too much time into it, but just that little bit compared to where, when it comes to open world, I'm used to Fallout. So when it comes to Fallout, you run around, you have a set course of what you're looking to do. When it came to this game, I felt like I was just wandering, or just, I saw things that I can shoot with my mining gun or have to replenish my systems.
And like skipping the tutorial in the first couple hours, going through and just trying to keep an upkeep on everything, I felt like this is just happening way too quick. I would get to planets where life system, I could be on the planet for 10 seconds. I would get out, shoot the mine, jump back into the ship, wait for my systems to go back up. Waiting even like 1 or 2 planets, that's fine. But when I'm getting to planets where it's like every 2 minutes, it's like, okay, well, you got here. Now replenish everything. Mm-hmm. That was just getting annoying very quickly.
Yeah.
Game development.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to the development of the game. Clark, I know you had a couple points that you knew about the game's development.
So it got on the PS4 Sony hype train. There was a lot of PR done for that, and I really honestly, I don't think the developer Sean Murray was like 100% ready to start actually getting into that. Mm-hmm. It was a small time game. It was actually only developed by 12 people, which the game is impressive to be only done by 12 people, but they kind of overpromised and overshot, and they over advertised some of the things that even weren't in the game. And I think that's where a lot of the issues started to come with, like a lot of the backlash from consumers and things like that.
One of the things I heard from DidYouKnowGaming.com was that when they were in the first parts of the stages of the game, it was like E3 or some kind of gaming expo, that somebody saw what they were doing and were like, can you just give us like a little trailer and we'll put it up? And they did, and it got so much hype just from that beginning trailer. They were going to cancel the game, and then they were like, now we got to continue with this.
Because they admitted that they didn't feel that the trailer itself was ready for the mass market, but they sort of saw what was there and pushed it and got this large response, and then they tried to deliver on it, and it seems like it fell short.
Very
honestly.
short.
Yeah. It definitely did not come through with the expectations that people had, and they kind of they didn't necessarily use an in-game engine to create that trailer, and that's what got them in a lot of trouble. Like, there's a lot of very vivid, open, beautiful landscapes in the artwork and the promise and advertising, not so much in the game.
And that's something that I really found and I felt when I started playing through it. The fact that there's this completely open landscape that I can explore, that's great. When it comes to the detail of the artwork and, the actual development that comes through, it's really reassuring that the fact that there's still companies that are doing this thing. But the thing that really lacked for me in all of it was the actual gameplay. I would have liked to take in the model that they set, prematurely or not, but the model they set for, what you can explore, what you can experience is, it's, you can only ride that so far until an actual, like, once you actually start playing it and have this tiny little dot, it almost feels like a minuscule Halo dot that I can shoot or mine or do something else in. And it becomes almost frustrating just trying to keep up with that.
And sorry if you hear laughing. I had to walk away to open a beer because this game has led me to drinking.
Story.
Let's move on to story. I know there's not a lot there, but I think it is important to note that there are those 2 quest lines. The one where you can head to the center of the universe, or the other one, I forget what it's. You're actually following some kind of path somebody's guiding you.
The Atlas.
The Atlas, yes,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
Atlas thing.
But I haven't gotten to the end of either one. But I have heard like there is a loop. Like if you get to the center of the universe, it just takes you back
Right.
to the beginning of the game.
And one of the other things I didn't like about the Atlas thing was during some missions, it was like, oh, by the way, you can either follow the Atlas or we can show you how to make a black hole and get you around the universe quicker. And I was like, those are kind of two big choices. And I really, like, as much as I like that black hole idea, I want to see where this Atlas takes me. And then realizing the Atlas is just fucking with you the whole time. It's just literally fucking with you.
Spoilers! I didn't know that.
So does anyone know the end of the game?
I heard the end of the game is you get to the center.
Hold on, spoiler alert. Just if anyone hasn't beaten the game,
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers are coming.
Oh, we totally gotta
skip,
get like some kind of
skip a good,
sound bit.
you know, a little bit.
Spoiler! Spoiler alert!
You get to the center.
Spoiler
alert!
God bless you.
So the game ends with you creating a star. That's what you do at the center of the universe.
Okay.
You create a star.
Aww.
That's adorable.
Cool.
That's it?
That's it.
I do that in Katamari. What do you want?
Does that mean you get your own
Great
galaxy?
game, by the way.
I know, it's so great. That's another episode.
Do you sort of, if you create a star, does that mean that it forms its own galaxy? That's like those planets are yours.
Jesus
kind
Christ!
of?
No more galaxies.
Yeah, it's at some point though. I mean, I don't recall if it creates other planets and stuff, but still, it's just another blip.
Gameplay.
No, I will say, it's like, as far as the gameplay goes, it has like all the, like, it has what it needs, like, is like background, but it needs like some kind of like focus, like story-wise, or...
It has like everything there to be a good game. It's just the way that I heard about it, and I was like, this is perfect representation of this game. It's a giant playground, and there is one goddamn slide, and everybody's using it, and there is nothing else to do in this fucking park of a goddamn playground. Sorry, I'm really pissed about this.
But that might actually have been interesting if you could see the other players in the game while you're playing it, but you can't. They're not there. They're invisible. Isn't that right?
And
there is no...
People have gotten to the same planet and at the same time, and
they're on like night and day cycles.
Yeah.
One's at night, one's at day.
Now, I heard something interesting when I was listening to something else.
Let's hear it.
But they were talking about like they had so many problems with like the servers or something like that with like saving the information of like the names of the planets and everything that they actually like had to wipe everything at one point. So like a lot of people that spent all this time uploading like names of planets.
They wiped it out.
They did. Like
God.
So it's like that was like one of the big catches of the game. Like, cool, you're leaving your mark permanently.
Yeah.
Somewhere in this game, and then just like, fuck it.
No,
it's only
more, asshole.
You know what I mean? I think that's kind of a spit in the face of these people that are dropping like $60 on like a brand new copy of this game.
Hell yeah, yeah.
That's another factor, is the fact that if this was a $20 or $15 game, it was just sort of like a fun experiment and there wasn't that much hype, there wouldn't be so much backlash. But because everyone viewed it as a AAA tier title coming basically almost second party from Sony, and then it didn't deliver, that's obviously why there is so much
which
backlash.
May have been a lot of pressure put on them, like we were already talking about, where just off the demos or everything else, oh, here's this giant, awesome game that's coming in, right in your face, and
it's coming right in your face,
like a big old gas giant coming right in your face.
And if you don't deliver, then it's going to seem lacking, and then I almost feel bad because the company that developed this almost feels like they always have to play a game of catch up, because here's this giant picture.
Or mustard, am I right?
Oh my god, that's terrible.
All right, Bobby Cat.
Speaking of mustard,
relish is something you fucking.
You're going down with them.
No, it's getting really bad. But where it's almost like there's this standard that's put on them, because hey, we made a great trailer. Here's something we're kind of building towards. If there's if there's so much demand that's coming for the game, they're going to feel like they're rushed to put it out. I mean, it's not going to be another Fez where the guy takes 3 years to put out a game. Which, don't get me wrong, it's fun, it was innovative for the time, but now we're talking on a whole nother level where if they're not really producing what's expected, they always feel like they're trying to catch up, hence the extra DLC, which I'm not a fan of. You know, I'm paying $60, $70 for a brand new game, and in 1 month, oh, here's this extra downloadable content for another $20. All right, so now I'm up to $80, $90, and then once the rest comes out, $110, $120. How far is it really going to go?
Now, have they announced any to pay DLC?
I don't think it's paid. I think they've already talked about free DLC.
I think they need to work on patching the game and making it.
Yeah.
Originally, I heard they were gonna. They said I heard this. I don't know where I heard it, so don't quote me on this shit. They said that they were gonna bring out free DLC for the game, and then once it came out, they're like, "Well, you might have to pay for it."
Mm-hmm.
No,
Everything
I've heard the complete contrary of that. They're working hard on updates and developments.
Fine, fucking quote me on. No,
I'm just throwing it out there, man.
No,
I'm kind of surprised to hear that because, I mean, obviously, from my perspective, it's like that company and that their credibility, everything is completely gone. It's okay, you can put as many band-aids as you want on this wound, but the damage is done. Like, the only way that this game could be saved would be that the PC version, which I always thought would be the preferred version because the ease for mods is that in a year or two, someone is going to take the time to make the game that they were promised and basically release a mod for free that everyone can download and get that game. Now, that's probably pretty ambitious, but if there was any DLC for it, or they were doing free patches and the team of 12 or whoever were actually really working on that, I find that surprising that they would try to make it right. They got their money.
Yeah,
they did.
All right, so just to reel it back into gameplay, our thoughts set aside about the game as a whole, but like playing the game, what did you feel like with moving around, doing the...
I actually thought it was a lot of fun to play, but the problem was that, after doing 3 times to the monolith and, gaining that knowledge for the languages and stuff, it really became very repetitive gameplay. It started to become this issue where you're going over and over and over again doing the exact same thing. It was kind of fun. My favorite thing was probably flying the ship, but mining was kind of boring, especially when you're doing these whole fucking gigantic pillars and it's, you're there, like you said earlier, for 2 hours and you're just kind of fucking around. The whole hazardous areas and stuff like that, that can really kill you when you get down to it. Okay, I can only be out of my ship for 15 seconds, but this is a mineral-rich place. Do I just go on? Do I just fuck off to another galaxy? What are you actually trying to accomplish here?
I found it very lacking, especially with, again, I'll come back to the point where the open world concept is amazing with the way they structured everything, where you could literally go from planet to planet, different terrains, everything else. But when it came down to the actual gameplay, first person, where you're mining down or attacking enemies or something else, I feel like there was a lot more that could have been done with it. And especially with the types of games that we have going on right now, where they could really expand upon it to make it, I don't want to say fast paced, but at least kind of make it a little more, appeasing to everyone, because it seemed to kind of draw it back a little bit.
And some of the things, the way I broke it down was there were 3 main things you could do. You could mine, you can fight things, and you can fly. And with the mining, it just seemed like even after 40 or some hours, it seemed like you weren't mining quick enough. When fighting, there wasn't enough to fight other than sentinels.
It seemed repetitive.
Yeah, even the big monsters, or if you found any, I found one that looked kind of like a brontosaurus, took them down, but it wasn't like there wasn't. It was like, okay, here's more carbon.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? There's plants all the fuck around. I don't care about carbon.
No, sorry to just cut you off real quick. Did you guys find very common the first thing you were looking for is like carbon?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because
Like
you
every single plate.
recharge the
It's
truck.
just depressing. Like that's you got into this routine almost hitting the planets.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with flying, that was fun until a point where, like, even when you were doing battles in space and stuff, it was like, okay, here's I got into one major fight where it was like 10 other enemies going around these huge ships, and it was me in the back picking a few off at a time, and it felt like, okay, I'm by myself. Even if I help these guys, there's no reward for that. There's nothing to do. It's like, oh, you helped us. Now go fuck yourself and get out of here. Like, there was nothing. And even fighting people, like, it would be cool if you found a planet and there was some kind of civilization, even if it was very minor and very, there was nothing. Nothing.
One of the things that I spent maybe 20 or 30 minutes with in terms of the gameplay was I actually got to a little section, I'm sure you've all done it, where there's just a dude like hanging out on the planet, and you can go in and you can talk to him, and you obviously don't speak the full language, and you pick up the little pieces here and there, and you try to break down the language. Well, I found the one guy, I can't remember which race he was. I know that when he talked, it kind of reminded me of like KOTOR, reminded me of the water planet on KOTOR, like it's sort of how the like. We're gonna reach you out.
Well, there's like
there's like 3 or 4.
there's like techie guys that are like covered in like
robots.
tech. There's guys that look like big brutes.
Yeah, they were more like a brute.
The
They have, like,
Viking, I
you guys
think,
remember
and
the
they have like a plate. There's Viking, Gek.
Gek.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Gek. Was there Vrex? Was that one?
That's what it was. Only
Yeah.
V.
Yeah.
That's-
Well, there's Viking as well.
But-
VY'
Oh, I'm sorry.
K-E.
You said it, and I pictured Viking. That's what they were.
They have like a plate over their head.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, this guy, and I'm sure you guys all experienced it, he wanted like 20 carbon every time I had to talk to him. So
Yeah,
I went and paid him this 20
Outposts.
carbon. Yeah, an outpost. I paid him this 20 carbon, and it was sort of like, it breaks it down saying the alien, he flared its nostrils and it talked very fast and barked at me, and then you can ask it 3 questions like can you heal me, can you fix my shield, or can you teach me another word. I didn't have any instances where it was a negative effect and I would basically get another word. I got like 10 or 12 words, but the conversation really never went anywhere no matter how many times I talked to him. And for about 45 minutes I just talked to this guy and just mined him for information and got him going.
Yep.
Never any kind of negative, never anything that wasn't positive, and kept moving.
And even when you spent whatever to find a word, I found all the words to be meaningless. Like, I would get a word and it's like rainbow. Like, when the fuck are they going to say rainbow? Look at that rainbow over there. There's no rainbows in the game. Look at the rock. Okay, there's tons of rocks, but which one? They didn't even say it. There were a lot of words that I never encountered at all and wondered, why is this in here? Why?
Well, it's like a 400-word language, right?
I think every single language is about 400 words.
400 words.
Now,
Yeah.
sorry, before we get too far off of his topic. Now, I don't know if you did. I did take advantage of that system that they have, because some of the options, it goes back and forth between a couple different options. It's like learn a word, and then the next set of questions, I need fuel, and he can give you carbon back, and you can go in this cycle, just giving it back to him for a word, and then get the carbon back from him. And there was a couple times I was just like, cool, I'm just going to hammer this out for like an hour.
Right. That's the way to do
Yeah,
it.
it's so
That's
broken
the
though.
American
Like
way.
that shouldn't be the way you do the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I will say probably the most fun that I had with all of the systems, other than flying, because I thought that felt the best of them all. I actually really, really liked the crafting the components on your mining gun and keeping certain ones together and unlocking them so that they actually gave you more bonuses and shit. I thought that was actually really cool. And if it's something that you didn't delve into, like it's actually really cool how they would stack together and give you bonuses and things like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do like how you can craft that, but I played several games where the crafting system was much deeper, and the fact that you can't add on to your ship or you can't add this or that to the things are so they're not modular. I want to say like the gun isn't modular enough that you can do anything. I get it. You have to expand it. You have to upgrade it. But like things like your ship, like there's no customization that you can do on it. You can't add to it. You can't start with a base and build your ship and go out, which is really disappointing.
Yeah, you always have to just like upgrade the ship and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, well, which I'll speak on the same behalf as Ralph, where I've played games where modification runs really deep, like when it comes to your armor, your weapons, your secondary weapons, your melee, and something I think that I was kind of looking to get out of this game was a little more in-depth customization, which again, they're putting out a lot of content and a lot of, you can basically go do your own thing. But if you're really going to be that open about everything, you have to put a little bit of something extra where instead of just, your exoskeleton, your unit or your ship or something else, you had 3 options between everything. And that encompasses yourself, your ship, your transport, and like your extra little inventory. And especially when you're in the beginning stages of playing the game, there's only a certain amount of limit you're able to carry. Again, I'll keep bringing it back where I'm spoiled from Fallout, where I can just like stockpile items, and then from there I can build something else. And I guess from having the feel from this type of game, I was expecting a little more.
So back to the exoskeleton. Those were the things you could find in the pods, like in the middle of nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So how come when you find them, the first one's free? Cool. Awesome. You find the second one. Now you got to pay for it. There's nobody around. Jack that shit. What the fuck is up with that? Seriously. And then second question is, Steve, have you ever played Fallout?
I love Fallout so much.
Which Fallout?
Wait, hold on, I got some free Hamill. Fuck you.
Nice, thank you.
That makes great radio.
Yeah.
He gave a middle finger.
Your visual aspect, they get it.
No. The one thing I will say about the gameplay, I felt like I really wanted to conquer planets and like build my own Death Star or something crazy. Like,
that would have been fucking awesome.
Or just like even from if you ever played Civilization, kind of like going out, populating different areas, and then kind of expanding from there. I thought that would have been like a really cool concept.
Build an empire.
Age of Empire.
Basically, build an empire. I think that's what it was lacking. Does anybody have anything else they want to?
I would agree with that, definitely. Where it's like if you're going to be given that like open concept of everything, well, make it your own. You can go and mine and do everything else. Well, what if you want your own planet?
One of the things I've heard, and again, don't quote me on this, I heard
I'm going to quote you.
One of the updates is going to be they're going to make it so you can make a base. Has anybody heard anything other than that rumor?
Hamill told me you can make a base. Did you know that?
Quote it, bitch.
Yeah, I heard that they were going to roll that out and being able to make like a freight line and stuff. But I mean,
it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, it's just too late.
You can only do so much by a certain point, and once it reaches that kind of like threshold, there's no really going back from that. You can try, but it doesn't mean that anything's going to come about.
Graphics.
All right, so let's move on to graphics then. What does everybody think of the look of the game? If you don't mind me starting real quick, the one thing that really bothered me when you were basically entering the atmosphere of a planet, the amount of time it took to like render that planet, it just looked very fuzzy for a very long.
Rough.
That was.
I mean, that's the only thing I liked the bright colors and shit, but I mean, at the end of the day, they rendered very poorly. They weren't able to draw distances. Yeah, like the draw distances weren't that great. None of the design of the planets were really even that interesting once you got to them. Yeah, I mean, the graphics looked cool, and they were a lot cooler in the hype, but it rolls back to this kind of older game that you're not expecting out of a, $60 game in 2016.
They almost kind of all look the same in one aspect or another with a little bit of different colors.
Exactly.
So it definitely where if you're paying this money, especially with, for the fact where, like you said, 2016 PS4, we have like ultra high def TVs, everything else. You expect a little more, which it might be a little more on us, but at the same time, we know what some of these, like game consoles can crank out. So hit it hard. If you have to delay the game a little bit. I'll wait an extra, 3, 4, 6, 12 months just to get that extra little bit that we're looking for.
I actually remember that they did delay this. They were supposed to release it early summer, and they pushed it back till late summer, and there was a big backlash about.
And that's even more disappointing. I'm sorry.
It was obviously a drop in the bucket, and it didn't actually do anything.
Sorry.
I wanted to actually ask the question: do we all play it on PS4?
Yes.
Because obviously there's a PC version, and I thought that would be the one I'd go with. But this was one of the rare times where I actually listened to the reviews and didn't buy the game on my own, come up with my own opinion. I weighed it out a little bit, and when it turned out that every version of it was essentially the same and a disappointment, I didn't end up buying it.
When going into a planet and it's kind of rendering and all, I kind of understood it to a point. Like, if I would get almost on the planet and it's still spawning trees and all, I was like, what's going on? But when you're going in, you're not going to see a whole forest. Like, you'll see all green, but you won't see individual trees. And then as you get in, I can understand seeing stuff individually.
No, I saw that.
Which
I had the PlayStation Pro. You didn't see that?
Which is fine. It's just at some points, like you said, like you would get there and things are still rendering, and it's like, why?
Well, it's even worse for the fact that you can look at a lot of other games and how the development has. I'm trying to find the best way to put this. On like the small scales, it sounds odd because it's a few years ago. Tomb Raider, when they revamped that and they brought that back out, the little bit like the forest, the little leaves, like off in the distance, I can get that. Why not when I'm coming in? I understand breaching the planet. I don't expect to see every small little minute detail, but here is a computer system that can render all of this. They can take care of all that. It can support that. Why not push it to get to where...
And I get that as well. But also I keep in mind that they have 18 trillion or whatever so amount of planets. I don't care. But whatever the netcode is to actually render and bring everything up, I kind of give it a little leeway because there is so much data and it's like, okay, they're going to this one. Let's kind of bring things. I get it. And like to a point with other games, it's so detailed and everything because there's not as much stuff to render.
And I get that, but there's a certain point where it doesn't matter what planet you're going to. It's still all the same.
Right.
And when you get to like the very core of everything, it's still all the same. And then you just kind of branch out, no pun intended, with the foliage and everything else. You fuck you.
No, graphically, the one thing that I think really bothered me, I wish this game was more like our actual universe. Like, I've always been fascinated with like astronomy and everything like that, and it's just like every fucking planet you land on, oh look, there's like 15 different animals here. Oh, I'm just going to hop to the very next planet. Oh, there's another 15 to 20 animals here. Like, what we know about our own universe, there's not...
So Earth deer and Mars deer, they're pretty much the same.
Exactly. Right? And one other thing that bothered me, if this was an actual universe, there would be no life in this universe whatsoever because there's fucking asteroids everywhere.
Well, and one of the other things with the like animals and all is that it seemed like when you go and you scan them, because that is one of the gameplay things, is you scan items, you blah, 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 which is not fun. But when you're scanning the animals, it would bring up the same animal, same name, looked very much the same, and call it a different animal. If you're going to a planet, like Earth, we'll say, for your universe, I don't know where you're from, sir. But when you go there,
no one knows.
There is not the same Triceratops head, Chihuahua legs, and a bunny tail, cottontail legs.
No, he sounds adorable.
I mean? It does.
Okay.
But when there's 5 of them, they call them the same thing and say, these are 5 different animals? No. F you. That's not true. You're being a dick.
It sounds so cute.
Yeah, I saw enough of the same, like, Stegosaurus bunny rabbits hopping around. It doesn't matter what planet you're on. It's all sort of the same thing. And it's sort of a classic example of quality over quantity. They tried to give you so much quantity that it killed the quality. But I have to admit that for me, graphically, I wasn't that disappointed in the graphics. For me,
Really?
Honestly, I wasn't playing the game. I knew all these factors, I guess. I knew how massive it was. I know that there's almost like the disc has it's like barely used. Like there's no huge file sizes or anything like that. Like I didn't play the game and say, oh man, this. I mean, sure, the sky's like orange or mustard gas yellow or whatever, and it's like, I don't know why it's like that. And I remember seeing videos where they were talking about, if I wanted to change the color of this rock, we have to raise the water level on the planet. And it's like, you are so full of shit. You did not even do half that much research to try to make the
Honestly, if they went that in-depth, I'd be impressed. It's more, I may be a little biased just because I'm a big fan of first-person shooters. And if you're going to make a game in first person, shooter, quote unquote, shooter, first person shooter, fuck you, you're going to get, woo! If you're going to make it in that view, then make sure you do a good job of that.
You might be right. If you put it next to Wolfenstein New Order, or if you put it next to Deus Ex, the new Deus Ex, it's going to look night and day. They don't look the same. But to me, I knew about how large, and it wasn't a game that you play specifically for the look of it. It wasn't game breaking for me. The graphics didn't break the game.
Yeah.
The gameplay broke the game.
Okay.
Two things. Adding on to that is when they showed all the promos and everything, it was supposed to look that artistic, that awesome looking. But
The art style.
the art style, but it all turned into like bushes that have like bulbs on them and like nothing. The caves, darkness, purple rocks everywhere for miles. The other thing is, out of all these galaxies and universes and all that, and all the light that's coming onto these planets, did anybody see a sun or a star that shined light onto these planets? Because I never fucking found it.
I tried to fly at the one sun. I swear to God, like 10 minutes just like doing the hyperdrive or whatnot.
Yeah.
And just like would never get closer. Then you turn around, but you're fucking like forever away from the planets, but you're no closer.
And it says,
The
"Hey,
fucking
fuck
sun.
you, buddy."
And I have a problem with the hyperdrive too. Like as you're zooming through and doing everything, trying to get to a planet, there's all these asteroids and everything. As you're hyperdriving, are you just crashing into these and not caring? They just disappear and nothing happens. It could be like, all right, clear them out or do something, some kind of objective here. But they're like, nah, just hit them. That's cool.
I'm not a doctor, but let's just admit that science in No Man's Sky is pretty much absent, based on how close the planets are and how you can see them in the sky
and
line
jetpacks,
and
everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they talked big
about fine
how the authenticity of the scientific aspect of it, but it's all hogwash.
All right. Music. So let's move on to music then. So what did you guys think of the music of the game?
Anything that I've experienced, there was no music. It was negative.
I don't
Negative music.
I don't actually remember anything memorable.
There we go.
That's
just bad.
The music was standard, spacey, kind of low-key techno, house, trance type music that you would kind of want to explore. I found myself turning the music down, though, and just kind of playing stuff off of my phone. I found that a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's very unremarkable music. It's not something that I would write home about.
So, actually, something like I think we forgot to talk about a little earlier. Did you guys get into any of the space battles? Like, the controls of that?
No, they were awful.
Terrible.
They were terrible.
They're stupid.
You didn't have any?
Not one, no.
I'll bring it
never
back
got
to
attacked?
any other control. It's just
Yeah, I got
It's not good.
I got ramshackled by pirates.
Ramshackled.
It's the only times that I've died in the game.
But you can always go back to your dead ship and pick up all your dropped loot.
Oh yeah.
But if you go back right away, they're there anyway, just waiting for you to pick you off.
Which
again.
that's a nice little extra bonus, but other than that, what do you got?
Yeah.
It's like you're dead. It's gone.
Yeah.
And you have no backtrack to boost you up.
It's not X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, I can tell you that.
No.
Negative.
All right. So what are all your final thoughts of the game?
Well, no, wait a minute. You didn't get to me for the music.
No, I'm sorry.
I
Go
had
ahead.
something I wanted to say about the music.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So my starting planet, which I spent most of my time on, I have to admit that I found, because there was no there was no like hazard. I didn't have to worry about like the cold or the hot or acid rain or anything like that. I was basically on this planet, and the music kicked in, and to me it was ambient, and it was relaxing. And I know that when you think No Man's Sky, you don't necessarily think of relaxation because you have to constantly worry about your life support and worry about this and that. But
Nope.
I found segments on my starting planet where I didn't have to worry about anything. And you could just walk and walk and walk. And it was almost cathartic.
At least
it was just like
someone got something
relaxing.
out of it.
And that's why
Soothing almost.
That's why I think the music's perfect, because ambient and soothing is what you're doing in this game, because there is no point of this fucking game and everything is just, okay, go do what you want.
Well, I don't mean that as a bad thing. I mean, obviously,
I do.
You're saying that, okay. To me, like, you work all day, you come home, you want to play this game where all you do is, in instances, you can relax and explore. We'll probably get to this later, but to be honest, with me, it bugs me that I knew all these bad factors about this game. I know that there's no point. I know that there's no real ending. There's nothing satisfying about it, but even still playing it, I haven't completely given up on it yet. It's almost like the shine is still on me. Like, you guys are all done.
Yeah,
like,
no,
the light is out of your eyes.
There is still one
Okay?
glimmer of hope that is still holding on because everybody else just said, fuck it.
There's still something about it that I think there's more time I could put into the game and enjoy it before I drop off the path.
And I can completely agree with that, but at the same time, don't make me pay $60 for this piece of shit.
It's true, I borrowed it.
All right, the truth comes out, which I'll say the same. I did not spend the money. I borrowed it, and I am so glad I did, because I got caught up in the hype where I felt like this was going to be the best thing ever, the best thing that came along. This is going to suck up all my time, like the Final Fantasies, the Warframes, the GTAs, anything else that pretty much will consume 60 hours of my life at one point within, 2 weeks, whatever it is.
Sure.
I am very glad. I enjoyed the game, but I am very glad that I did not pay to play the game.
I tried to rent it in like a Redbox or whatever, but I couldn't find it in there. Maybe the first week.
Which they
it's already
probably
dropped
did
off.
themselves a favor, because that just would have been wasted disk space.
Final thoughts.
All right, cool. So why don't we move on to our final thoughts, guys? Hamill, why don't we start with you? Why don't you tell us, just wrap up your ideas behind the game?
Okay, so I disliked this game so much that hold on. This is actually what I did, and I did not tell anybody this. I actually went onto the PlayStation 4 website, went on to customer support in the chat.
Oh
and
God!
I
You
said,
went in depth.
I went and talked to someone and said, yes, I bought No Man's Sky. Is there a way I could get a refund? And they said, no, all sales are final. And I said, there are other people online.
Shit.
No, I did. I can bring this up. After that, they said, no, all sales are final. And I said, well, I've seen it on Reddit and other sources that people have been coming on here and getting their money back. She said, is there anything else I can help you with? And I said, can you explain to me why all sales are final except for these people? And she said, have a good night, and then close the chat.
Well, yeah, it's because that's against their policy to give refunds. They opened it to a small window of people. That is it.
Yes, I know.
You missed out on it.
But now
Zaboom!
I did mention this, and there is in Europe an advertising company looking into false advertisement on the game based on videos and photos that they release. In which case, I hope I get my money back. I don't plan on it, but $60 for this, I would not at this point. I regret this I would not pay a cent for this game. It, like other games, it could be like, I'd pay $1 for this. It's a shitty game, but, it could be funny. At this point, this isn't a game. This is a simulator to explore empty fucking worlds.
There's
it's stupid.
some hatred.
I hate it.
Damn.
GameStop bargain bin is what you're saying. You're saying you want to buy copies and line them in your bathroom.
No. You don't even want to do that. You want to
jeez.
either burn these down to make other CDs for better games, or which I know is not possible, or you want to use these for frisbees.
Good, I was going to correct you on that.
Or you want to use these for frisbees to hit people you don't like. I don't know, but they're free games that you should buy in the dumpster of a
Here, asshole!
toy.
Have No Man's Sky!
Hey, buddy, I ain't got no
And that
PlayStation
person,
4.
and the person that you throw this at should stab you and say, "Thanks for throwing this shit at me," because it is equivalent
Thanks
to
for the
shit.
AOL disc!
Okay,
AOL discs I would pay more for than No Man's Sky.
All right, so that's 10 out of 10. Before I get to my final thoughts, though, I do have a question about your refund.
Yes.
Okay, so did you guys not buy hard copies? You have
No.
I bought a hard
digital?
copy.
I bought
You bought
digital.
digital? Really?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bought
Do you
a
have an
hard
expanded
copy.
hard drive? Because 500 gigs for the hard drive for the...
No, when I'm done with
is
the
not
game,
that
I just
big.
delete it, and then if I come back later, the
Also,
same file's
the
there,
install is like 6 gigs.
That's right.
Yeah,
there's like
digital.
nothing on
but-
it.
Yeah, it was
There's nothing.
tiny.
Okay, I actually never delete once I've installed a game to my system because you don't know if
Fancy bitch.
not for this example. Let's say you have a game for the PS4 that you really really love.
Yeah.
There are patches, there are things like that. Those servers won't exist in let's say 10 years.
And that's
It's
fine.
just not
For
gonna be
this,
there.
don't care. There's other games that if I really care about the game, I will
You'll
buy
keep
it digital. There's some games that I'm just like, let's check it out, and maybe I really like that game, and that's cool.
Right.
But later on, if I find that game for $5 after I bought it for $30, cool. But I'm not gonna buy. This is a game that no.
Not so much.
The saddest
No.
server to ever go down. Resident Evil Outbreak.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you talked about that years ago.
That's
You were talking
that's
about
for
that.
another podcast. Where
Yeah.
it's our Shattered Hopes and Dreams podcast.
All right. Honestly, my final thoughts. I think that there's a combination of things going on that happened with this game. Like the developer had a vision, tried to match it, fell well short, and flat out lied to the general public about what they could deliver on. And Sony they stoked that hype boiler to the breaking point, and then the locomotive exploded when they tried to pull the lever. This metaphor went weird.
That, it works. We got you.
It's
Got you, boo boo.
It's a classic. I'm not your boo boo. It's a classic case.
Fuck you, you're my
of-
boo boo. I love you, bro.
I will flip this table, motherfucker. All right, so basically, it's a classic case of quantity over quality to the point where the two extremes are at the furthest points possible. No pun intended, because how big the universe is. It's completely. It's an ocean's worth of water, but it's an inch deep.
That was. I mean, I
That
was going to say that was deep,
that was
but
deep.
but it
No,
totally
it's
didn't. Yes.
It's not deep.
I mean, the more and more I played the game, the more and more I disliked it. Just like the repetitiveness and it became so very unoriginal of itself. That's how big the game is. Like, it just becomes unoriginal at some point. The initial idea and concept were really great. The execution was very poorly done. And yeah, I really just I don't think it's a good game. I really honestly I don't think it's a good game. I wouldn't suggest it to anybody.
Really?
Would you
Not even a
suggest
chance? Not even like
That's-
a
No,
not even a
I
chance? You
wouldn't.
don't
I
buy it?
wouldn't suggest it to anybody.
What about somebody you really hate?
No, I wouldn't suggest it. I actually just kind of want to move on from it at this point.
Oh wow.
I don't care about.
Shit.
I don't care about DLC. I don't care about. It's a game that I'm done with.
A fan-made patch comes out in 2 years that's free.
Never gonna happen because it's on Sony.
Okay, you don't have the PC version.
If there is
Well-
a patch, like a patch that does bring something new that isn't part of it already, like the base or something, you wouldn't even give it a shot? Like
No.
an hour?
Nope.
Okay.
I can think
Alright.
of one
It would-
example.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to get this
You're
out.
good? Yeah,
so,
do it.
The sequel to Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, that one was rushed to get basically its release date, and only, I don't even know if it was a year or two, maybe 3 years ago, a fan-made patch was done, and it's on Steam, and you can download it, where they restore this content. It's called like the Sith Lords Restored Content Pack, or something like that.
It's
They
creative.
They added a whole planet to the game. They added new endings to the game. They basically said, look, this game was rushed. It was good, but it was flawed. Here it is. I mean, obviously that's more than No Man's Sky, because No Man's Sky isn't even good to start with. But when I look at the engine
And that's
in the
the
world,
and that's the problem. That's why
there's still potential, in my opinion. I just don't think it'll be delivered on.
I think they have a great base for the game.
No Man's Sky 2.
No Man's Sky 2. Except it's a lot better, man. But where the fact that how open world they made this thing, which is awesome. You don't find a whole lot of games like this where you can just run. Hey, look, that's west. I'm just going to keep running. I'll see what the hell happens.
You can't argue that.
And I'm just going to keep going. But I think
going,
what's lacking is the same thing that Clark and Ralph said, is that it was almost too rushed, where they just needed to put it out. And so that's what they did. And that's why the graphics, they're lacking. Honestly, for myself, the storyline, if I'm going to play a game like this, I would like some sort of storyline. I jumped in it, and it was just kind of like, oh, here's a planet, here's a thing, mine it. Oh, that powers your suit, that powers your, mining gun, whatever it is. That's pretty much all I got out of it.
Oh, you got extra? You can sell it to this glowing trash can.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a beautiful sight. That's like, oh, you're a good thing. We're good to go. But they could do so much more with this game. I enjoyed the idea of it, but when it actually came to the production and the execution of the game, that's where it's really lacking. And that's where I just feel disappointed overall.
Piggybacking off of your idea, I do like the concept of the game. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the concept fail, because I would like them to take what they have, the groundwork for it, and build on it. Because I think there's definitely something there. It's just it's not there yet.
They have to scale it back. That's what would make this game good. If it was 9 planets that were amazing to actually be on, that'd be cool.
They don't even have to go to that length. They can, the chances, they can make it still an absurd amount of planets, just, cut it down significantly. Or you can still make it to a point where you can't visit.
I gotta agree with Clark, though. I would prefer a game where, let's say, it's 10 planets and they're all unique and interesting and fun, and you want to go from this one to that one, and you want to take these minerals and sell them at this one because you'll get a better rate than you will here, and there's a network, it makes sense, it all works, they're filled, there are people there are NPCs. With this having 18 million trillion planets.
So pretty much take the basis of what they have and then just make it where it's almost user content. We've seen a lot of great things happen where you just make it open to Minecraft, Counter-Strike, Grand Theft Auto, whatever it is. Anything PC-wise where you just open it up and it's like, hey, here's something to go do with it. What can you come up with?
There's a sandbox built on it.
Exactly. And that's probably the best basis it can go off of. Which, when you're on a platform like PS4 or Xbone, I can't do it. No, it's so shitty. No, fuck that. PS4 or Xboner, where you give that open that is fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
I didn't say anything.
Home, fuck you, I'm done.
No, I gotta call him out. He said boner.
I did.
I have an
It's and thank you. It's on purpose. So fuck everybody else getting a PS4.
On purpose?
But no,
but where it's if you can have this good standard content and you can just kind of build more or make it a little better, they need to make it a little more open platform.
I have the weirdest boner.
But no, getting back to my final thoughts.
My final thoughts.
I wasn't...
All right, Jerry. That was a high five between Steve and Hamill.
God, no, I don't even know what I was going to say.
No, fuck you up. You want to go cuddle on the couch?
So I wasn't following the game for a long time. I actually just heard about this game a week before it came out. So I wasn't disappointed because of all the hype behind it.
Wow.
I was just disappointed by the repetitiveness of it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm not as disappointed as a lot of people out there because I wasn't following this hype train for like what was it, like a year and a half that they were talking this game up.
I was looking forward to this game for a good 2 years.
You're at least disappointed.
And
with
I'm sorry
4 out
I
of
told
5.
you about it a week
Yeah,
before I bought it.
yeah. I think it was actually you that got me hyped up for this game.
Fuck
Well,
both
it was
of you.
You were on the hype locomotive. You were the
I
engineer.
I fucking was.
I'll send you that $60 bill.
I don't think they make a
And I'm usually
$60
cautious about it too, because you hype games up all the time. I'm very
That's
cautious.
true.
No, I don't.
Yo,
last
you
one?
do.
Yeah,
Come
you're
on.
Like what? What have I hyped up that wasn't good?
Division?
Other
Oh,
than
Division.
Dirty dog!
I'm sorry.
with
Actually,
you.
everybody was hyped up
I
about
was
the
with
division.
you.
That
That's
game
true,
fucking
that's
sucked.
true.
I never
I
bought
played-
that,
I
so
played the
fuck
division.
you guys.
You didn't talk to
I
us
maxed
about it.
out- I maxed out my character and played with my buddy Bob. We played for like 60 hours straight.
Yeah, it was a fucking awesome game until the end.
Although all of you are on Destiny now, so fuck all you guys said.
Speak for yourself. I don't subscribe to the Destiny.
Good
Don't drink the
for you.
Destiny
That's
Kool-Aid.
that's
I don't
that's
drink
two of
it.
us. No,
Rise of
I'm
Iron.
good on
I haven't
that.
touched it since last November, something like that.
I see him and him,
Yeah.
and then
All right.
Joe and everything else. Fuck that.
So cool. Anything else that anybody wants to say about the game before
So
we get to our grading?
your final thoughts on the game?
No, we already did that.
The score.
I will say, don't waste your time.
Jesus.
No, I
That could
agree.
be your grade.
That is it. That's my
That's
grade.
not a
dude.
grade. That's
Hey,
just...
here you go. You go from A to E. I give it an F. I don't like it.
Scale
Is that
from
how
1
you're
to 10.
officially
don't
grading
buy
it?
Yeah.
An F.
An F. Well, okay, fine. D.
Z.
Graphics good. Gameplay is shit. Everything else could be better.
Okay.
All right, so grading wise, I like to think more of it as how much money am I willing to spend on it. With No Man's Sky,
$2.
not even $2. Like I like
No, literally though, you
Literally.
literally paid $2 just to
no because
go back before you played for the first time.
if I okay,
No, he is.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now that I'm informed and I know what it is, I know if I could tell myself save that $60 for something else. Save $1, save a penny for something else. If I were able to talk to myself in the past and tell myself, I would say, don't bother. This game, unless somebody pays you to play it, you don't want to play it. It's
God
so
damn,
boring.
I love
I would
the
pay a
ammo.
penny.
Right.
I love
No,
it.
Jesus Christ, you could probably find one out in the parking lot.
And that's
Yeah,
the thing.
I'm
I mean,
gonna go
I-
look. I'll be right back.
There are
going.
hold on. There are worse games in the fact that they are terrible, they are buggy, they're everything. But at some point, I can find something funny with it and be like, I'd pay $1 to play that shit.
So bad
This-
it's good.
Yeah, so bad it's good. But this is so bad. I can't even suggest a dollar amount. Somebody would have to pay me almost at this point, unless there's like a future DLC that I will try to give it another chance.
I'm
Other
surprised.
than that, I will give it another chance. I'm all about second, third, fourth chances. But Harry wants a beer. Get him a beer. But the thing
Hey,
is,
Harry, why don't you just say I want a beer?
I don't want to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
Want a beer at the end of the podcast?
This-
Drink a goddamn beer, motherfucker.
Well, Hamill's over here doing final thoughts too, instead of just saying what his grade is.
my final grade
want a beer.
would be $0. I would not pay for anything for this game.
Thank you, sir.
I
You're welcome.
regret it. This is remorse.
I'm so glad
I don't use big words like remorse.
Ralph?
Jesus.
All right. Well, I don't want to play devil's advocate or anything, because I'm not gonna say that this game is amazing or anything. I mean, it might have some merits on like a level of you could learn from how to make a good game from it. I'd say I'd give it one VHS copy of Space Truckers out of a broken down abandoned Blockbuster.
That
You could say
seems
it's something
very.
like that. That's random and bizarre, I know. But
No, that seems very good, right?
that seems good.
Yeah.
You guys seen Space Truckers?
Sure.
In all seriousness, I would say that maybe it's like I would give it like a 2 out of 5 or something like that. Like to me, like there are some visual things I like and there are some auditory things I like. So let's say those are the 2 things out of 5.
All right, final grade. 1 out of 10. I give it 4.39.
Oh my god!
There you go. I know.
That's the decimal system.
I'm specific, motherfucker.
Well, that's fine.
He gives it 9.75 out of 100.
I mean,
I could.
my grading system is just going to be arbitrary. Listen to what I have to say about the actual game. I'm going to give it like 7 hype trains out of 1 poor delivery. So
I'm okay with that. Harry?
I mean, I'm not going to get into another ramble of Final Thoughts Part 2. So
You are.
It already started.
No. I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to give
if it didn't pick up on microphone, Hamill just ripped ass, and Harry is uncontrollably laughing.
What? Like 8 times.
It's so adorable.
I tried to say 3 out of 10 so many times.
3 out of, and that's it. Harry's final grade is 3 out of.
No, I'll give it a 3 out of 10. I'm not giving it like a bottom of the barrel 0 or 1 because I think there is some value in the game, but I
There's
can't.
not a lot of value.
like a 5 is going to be like an okay kind of for me, but it's definitely below.
One question for you, Harry.
Yeah.
Would you suplex this hype train?
Yes.
All day long.
Yeah. All right. So this would be the questions to us from listeners segment, but unfortunately, since this is our first episode, we have none of that at this point. So what other games are you guys playing right now?
What don't you understand about a podcaster? Speak. Okay. Anyway, I've been playing a lot of XCOM 2 and 7 Days to Die, and I actually rebooted Metal Gear Solid 5 up and did like 300 updates and was running around shooting darts at Quiet's butt for a little bit. So I've been playing that.
Wait, what?
You guys don't do that?
Shooting darts at a chick's butt. Come on, man. Yeah. I've been going back and forth between Madden 17 and I've also been playing Destiny Rise of Iron. Rise of Iron's been really awesome. Totally worth $30 for the expansion.
I've been playing some Warframe, free download for PS4, until you start paying your ass in Platinum and everything else for it's free to play. It's good. Other than that, Rocket League. It's all Rocket
Oh, I
League.
introduced them to that one.
Harry Verman is like, why don't we play a little bit of this? And then I ended up buying the game, and it's just been nothing but. It is. It's addictive. It's like my cocaine game can't get away.
Here's your review for it.
Here's my review. I like Rocket League. It's great. Let me hit the ball.
All right, so we just got the new computer, and one game I always used to love playing on the laptop was Dawn of War.
Oh, did you fire it back up?
Oh, I fired it back up. And now that we have like an updated system, I was able to turn like all the stats, all the fucking up, like all persistent bodies.
Well, yeah, it's like a game from 2004, isn't it?
I know, but I'm just saying, even on my laptop before, it couldn't even function.
I'm up to date now, about 12 years later.
And then Super Nintendo, I've been playing Jurassic Park. That game is fantastic. The ending is terrible, but the game itself, it's pretty cool. I kind of dig it.
I'm in Sub-Basement 2, Velociraptor. Shit!
I played the Genesis version when it was a thing. That's the side-scrolling one where you could be the Raptor or Grant.
Oh, so it's different.
Yeah, it's different.
The Genesis version was awesome.
I never played it. I didn't know it even existed.
And it's different than the Nintendo version too.
Good-
There's a Nintendo version.
Good
of
luck
Jurassic
finding it.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a hard one to find.
I read that
Genesis.
Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Wait, did you just read that?
I found it in a time capsule.
All right, so Hamill, now that you're done eating your cookie, why don't you tell us what you've been playing?
I've been playing Madden NFL 17 reluctantly.
I didn't realize I was sandwiched between two mainstream Madden players.
I'm not
Oh
mainstream.
my
Trust me,
God.
I've been playing it and throwing it to everybody but my receivers. So
Let's
don't
be
worry.
honest, you cannot
Is that
reluctantly play
metaphor?
Madden. You just play Madden.
I play and I curse at the screen every 2 minutes.
That's
what
just called playing Madden.
Also, Destiny: Rise of Iron. Clark, I've seen you on there once or twice.
Yeah. We've done some strikes together.
I would not admit that. I've also been playing Overwatch. And
Oh yeah, I've been
You're
playing
still
Overwatch
on that?
too.
yeah,
Again,
I just
playing
got
with
it.
you.
We've been playing that a little bit, and I like that one still.
I don't have Overwatch.
You don't have it?
You're not missing out on much.
Yes, you are.
That's a lie. It's a fucking amazing.
I want to whisper too.
Whisper with you here.
There's a voice.
Cool. So I think that's going to do it for us tonight.
Yep.
So thank you for listening, everybody, and stay tuned until 2 weeks from now.
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.